Howdy friends, Russell here, coming to you from the shop once again. Part 2 on the head removal on Sean's TJ here. Did a little bit more work to it that I hadn't filmed. I'll show you the manifold real quick on why we're doing this. As you can see right here, there's a crack down the manifold right here. That's what necessitated having to take this manifold off, and then the reason the head had to come off is the mount stud for the manifold was broken off in the head, so we've got to send the head off. So where we're at now is manifolds removed, water pump, thermostat housing's off. We've got the manifolds off, and today we're going to finish removing the head so we can get it off to the machine shop. So I'll get the camera mounted up here and we'll get to work. That looks like a good spot as any. So what we've got to do now, we've got to get the valve cover off, and then of course the rocker arm valve train stuff, and then we can pull the head. Some of the tricky parts of pulling the head off while leaving it in the vehicle is there's 2 bolts that go through the AC bracket here, one on each side, that have to come out because they're bolted to the head. We've already gotten that off. Obviously we've gotten the manifold set off. That's pretty straightforward to do once you get all the plumbing out of the way. So now we're gonna get this valve cover off and get the head off. Alright. Okay, now the valve cover's off. We've got to remove the rocker sets. This engine's actually been well maintained. Oil changes have been done frequently, and I can tell by how clean the rockers are and the lack of oil coking in here. So this is going to turn out really well. I know some people, they'll pull the head off if they're just doing a gasket and leave the rockers installed. Since we're sending this head off, we're going to go ahead and remove everything. All right, rockers are off. And as I said, I think I said before in a couple other different videos dealing with the Jeep motors, it's an interesting mix of standard and metric bolts. Most of the internal stuff on these Jeep engines is standard because the engine design dates back to the late 60s, early 70s. Some of the external stuff on the TJs, YJs, XJs is going to be metric because of the takeover by Chrysler in '87, and they had gone pretty much metric with everything. So it's an interesting mix. The head bolts on the Jeep 2.5 and the Jeep 4.0 from '87 onwards are what size are they? 15 millimeter, I believe. And it's interesting because you have to have 12 point. It is. No. 13 millimeter deep is what you have to have. Yep. So. Alright, I just wanted to throw a little correction in here. The head bolt size, 87 onward. Actually, the head bolt size for all the Jeep engines, or at least for the Chrysler ones, while a lot of the external bolts are metric, everything internal on the motor is standard. So the head bolt size is actually a 12-point, half-inch, and of course for half of them you need a deep. Kind of very hard to find. You're not just going to get it off the shelf, you have to order them. I know a lot of people will think 13 mil half-inch is the same, and it really isn't. Half-inch is like somewhere between 12.5 and 12.7 millimeters, so that little bit of slack between a half-inch and a 13 millimeter, when I used a 12 point and the bolts were slightly rusty, it just rounded them right out. We're going to get this head off. It's ready to go. Short of the head bolts, the bolt on the very back corner with the ground strap, I'm not sure what size that is off the top of my head, but you have to pull the ground strap off first and then you can get to the head bolt. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Jesus. And you can see I was having a hard time getting through those bolts out. As I previously had mentioned, it's because they're 1/2 inch and not 13 millimeters, so those 3 got rounded out pretty bad. 2 of them I managed to get out by using a 1/2 inch box end wrench and a pipe. The 3rd one I had to get an Irwin bolt remover extractor tool. And after that, it came right out, so we were able to get the head off. So once we got the last bolt out, it's simple as just pick the head off. We'll take it to the machine shop today and get started on it. Ended up using an Irwin bolt stud remover to get that last bolt out. It was rounded off pretty bad. So we'll get this off to the machine shop. And once again, if you like this content, go ahead and like, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon for future notifications. And as always, there's more to follow.